So let's get started, right? So it's almost 8 o'clock and 12:30 in India. So welcome to episode number 4 and day 4 of free Intune training organized by How to Manage Devices community. Just to give you a recap, right? These are the things which we had covered. Day one, we took a trial version of Intune and then created a user assigned license. Took EMS E5 trial license, right? And then and in day two, we did some configuration about we talked about MDM authority, MDM auto enrollment, like a licensing license assignment. We saw that there was an issue with license assignment with because use location was not updated, right? And hopefully you are able to see my screen. Okay. So we stopped yesterday, I think, if I'm not wrong, enrollment restrictions, right? In enrollment restrictions, we have seen enrollment type restrictions and device limit restrictions, right? So we will go through all these in details, right? Now we I'm giving you a overview of entire Intune portal, right? So that is the idea for today also, right? We will cover all these blades, right? We are in devices no blade now. We will cover apps and all the other nodes if possible today, right? So the next one is corporate device identifiers, right? You can up if you want to check, you can upload the EMI number, and you can upload the serial number, and you can upload the devices details over here, right? So that is a feature available in Tune portal for that. And these are the enrollment managers, right? You can have enrollment managers assigned over here. We will come go through all these details, all these in details, like in later sessions, right? So don't worry about that if you don't understand what is enrollment managers and what is device identifiers, etc., right? Okay. So that is what device manage devices. And we have seen in devices there are other things like complaints policies, right? So what is complaints policies, how to create complaints policies, so those things we will cover. And you can see conditional access policies. Basically, conditional access policy is part of Azure Active Directory, but this is kind of a shortcut over here, right? And the configuration profiles are basically configuration policies, right? So basically you can create configuration policies, device restriction policies. I think I had shown you something in on Sunday's basic lessons about creating profiles and etc., right? This is like there is something like administrative templates over here. Administrative templates is basically like something like group policies, right? Group policies from the cloud, right? And over here you can see like you can deploy the policies for Android Enterprise, Android device administration, iOS, iPad OS, Mac OS, and Windows 10, etc., etc., right? Depending on this selection, platform selection, this the choice below will get changed, right? The profile choice will get changed, right? So it's there is a filtering over there, right? You can see like skep certificate, trusted certificates, etc., etc., over here for Android device administration. If I select Mac OS, right, you would be able to see something different, but similar names are there. But if you go to Windows, right, the things are very different, right? As you can see over here. But the scape certificate and all the others are there, but a lot of new things got added into this, like device restrictions. Don't worry about the device restrictions and all the other policies. We will go through in details at a later stage of this training, right? So this is just to give you an overview of profile, right? What is configuration profile? So same thing with compliance policies, right? If you create a compliance policy, you need to select a platform first. So platform is basically Android devices, iOS, Mac OS, or Windows 10 or later, right? So if I select Windows 10 or later, and then I try to create a compliance policy, I need to provide a name, and then see like it will give me these options, right? Whether the device is healthy or not, then only we will give access to that device to access corporate resources, right? Otherwise the access will be restricted and those kind of things. So what is compliance policy, what is configuration policies, what are the difference between both? I will cover that in details, right, later at the later stage. Okay, as I have shown you yesterday, after selecting the platform, right? If I select the platform, this policy set also will get changed, right? If I select Windows platform, I will be able to see only like these Windows related policy set, right? Windows policies. One is PowerShell script, right? You can upload PowerShell script over here. You can create Windows ring, like patching rings over here. There are two things called in patching. There are two things, right? I know you are aware of that in SCCM world also, right? Feature updates and quality updates. Feature update is Windows 10 upgrades, and quality update is like our monthly patching, right? So in Intune you can create those kind of policies. Okay, and we will see that also in the future videos or future sessions, right? Future meetings, right? So don't worry about that at the moment. Okay, so if I can go back and if I can see something else, yeah, device cleanup rules, device categories. You can select device cleanup rules, and you can set how many days, like you want to after how many days you want to clean up some devices, etc., etc., right? So I'm not configuring anything because we have to go through it in a later stage, so that like it will be clear for you. Okay, and device category is the other option. I don't know, somebody is not muted. Probably if you can please mute yourself, that would be helpful for this. Thank you. Okay, so if I can go down into apps blade. Apps is the main blade for application management, right? So here you can deploy Windows, same thing, right? The segregation of the portal, or style of, or what is that called, format of the portal or design of the portal, right? Intune portal is same. Okay, it's similar in all the blades, right? One is overview. First section is overview, and then you will see a platform session, and platform you will see like Windows, iOS, Mac OS, Android, and then you will see policies, right? and the others are like probably day-to-day activities or one-time configurations where you want to clean up something or something similar to that, right? If you want to create categories or something like that, right? And the below one is help and support. Okay, so let's go to Windows 1 first. And in if this is the blade for creating Windows applications, right? Windows application deployment or Windows application management, right? So I don't know why this is still there. Okay, so this is only for Windows, right? So you can see like there are different types of applications. Don't worry about that at the moment. These type of application, we will go through that in detail, right? So just wanted to point out like these are the main two applications which are used in Windows world as far as I know, right? One is line of business application, the other one is Windows application, Win32 application, right? So we will cover that in details. So if I go back to iOS, you can see you can add iOS applications over here. So iOS applications are not like Windows, like we don't have that much of options, right? uh, so these are the iOS related applications. We will see what we can do over here at the later stage, right? So mainly in my experience, I normally use this application type in my day to day work with Intune, work as an Intune admin, right? Earlier when I started Intune back in I don't know, 2012, I started blogging about Intune. So but at that time I was kind of using web links, right? So we will go through that in details later stage. Okay, so same thing for Android and Mac OS as well. And application protection policies are basically MAM policies, right? MAM is basically um, mobile application management, or I think I'm correct over there. I'm not wrong there, right? Mobile application management. So uh, do you know about WIP policies, Windows Information Protection policies, and those kind of policies are over here, right? And the similar kind of policies are here for Android and iOS devices also. Okay, so if I select iOS, for example, over here platform, I can only see like app policies for iOS, right? So over here I can create profiles, etc., right? But unfortunately I don't know, like I can't see this particular policy for iOS in that filter. So sometimes you need to be very careful about that filtering option. So for example, what I'm trying to say is I selected iOS, right? If I can create, let me try test, and if I say next, so I can see these options are there, right? A type of applications on all devices, etc. And then I can go to data protection, and then I can see like what are the things I can do, right? So what I'm missing here is if I select iOS over here, I'm missing that particular policy set, right? The restriction policy, protection policies are missing over there. Okay, anyways, so as I mentioned, you can create Android protection policies, Windows 10 protection policies, etc., right? And app configuration policies also, options are also there. If I say um, managed apps, right? You can see managed apps options here, and you can see like what are the options I can available here, configuration, what are the settings you need to configure for each application. I think you probably will get confused if I go into all these details at the moment. Probably we need to take this in every all these settings every day, like in future training sessions, right? So just to give you an overview, this is the application tab, right? Application management tab from a Intune perspective, right? Okay, and let me go back to the endpoint security. So I'm not sure I'm going to cover endpoint security because I'm not familiar with that. at the moment, because this is related to managing the say the antivirus and ATP kind of a software, right? So probably this I can try to cover at a later stage of the session, later stage of the training, if that is possible, or if that is possible from my side, right? So BitLocker, encryption, all those things are coming over here, right? So I have not tried this personally, so probably I need to try this personally, but before presenting to you, right? So that I will cover probably at the last stage of this training, probably. Okay. So the basically, to give you an idea, this is the security policies, right? You can manage ATP and all the other stuff over here. Okay, if I can go back. Okay, reports is the other tab, right, where you can see the reporting things, right? I don't at the moment, this is a trial version of the Tenant, and I don't have anything to show over here, but otherwise, like, you would be able to see like complaints policies, reports, and all the other stuff, right? Trends, etc., right? Data warehouse, I have not tried data warehouse yet. Okay, and log analytics workbooks, those details are over here. Okay, and this users are, right, users are basically, this is the replica, or this is the thing coming from Azure Active Directory, right? So you can, if you want, you can create a new user, and like you can see like password reset options over here for the users, right? And all the other things are there, authentication options. These are basically Azure AD settings, okay? And you can say you can use all these methods in details, right? Number of methods required to reset, etc., etc., right? Registration, okay, customization, all these details we can go through one by one in the future videos, right? And the same thing applicable for the groups, right? We don't have any groups at the moment. I think this is the default one, right? And we have not created any groups. Probably if we have time today, probably we can create some groups and see like what are the groups, etc., right? And in groups also we can see like what are the general setting options with the group, security groups, and who is the owner of the group, and those things are like, I don't know whether you have seen that in SCCM console. Like if you enable um, SCCM collection and Azure AD group sync, right? Then you need to specify as SCCM as one of the owner of Azure AD groups, etc., right? So that kind of option is very useful in SCCM world also. Okay, so that groups. Then administration, I think we have already gone through. um, I don't know whether we have gone through the other things, like yeah, I think we have gone through this on the day 2 or something. And roles, this is the RBAC settings basically of Intune. You can create custom roles, and you can assign a specific custom roles to admin, and you have scope tags as well in Intune, similar to similar to scope tags of SCCM, right? Scoping of SCCM. Okay. Um, anything else over here? Terms and conditions. That is okay. I think you can create terms and conditions before user logs in. Uh, the last thing is troubleshooting plus support, right? So this is pretty useful thing, right? This is pretty useful blade, and I normally use it for a lot of troubleshooting purpose. This is the starting point of my troubleshooting. If I want to troubleshoot, what I normally do is basically I will come to troubleshooting and plus support blade and select a user. Okay, and I think we should have a device, select a device option also over here, but I don't know like whether that is coming or not. um, but if I select in normal scenario, right, I will see all the devices over here, uh, all the devices assigned to this particular user will be listed over here, right? And application protection status, all those details will be listed over here, and you can go to all the assigned devices from here, and you can click on the status, like, and check what is happening with that device, which policy got deployed, which policy got failed, right? And you can see, like, Intune license details. This user is assigned to an Intune license or not. Yes, it is. It says yes, this user has an Intune license. For example, if I create a new user, right, new user, and if I say Dave, um, Dave first name okay, auto generate password, create. And if I go back to troubleshooting, and if I select tab, I don't know why it's not coming. Probably it is bit slow. Okay, so if I select tab, it says, see, Intune license is not assigned to Dave, so that is why it says, like, Intune license is giving us a warning, right? So you have all these details in the troubleshooting blade. We will cover that in details, like, once we have more indication. And probably what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to create a Windows 10 VM, and I'm going to do a enrollment of that VM, right? So MDM enrollment should automatically happen. That VM should be Azure AD joined VM. Okay, so we will go through together the process of Azure AD join and MDM enrollment, right? In tomorrow's session. So that is the first kind of client side of the things which I wanted to show you. Okay, so I think we are almost reaching 8:22. We have 8 minutes. I can take any questions if you have today for today.
So Anup, Salim here. So if
Yeah,
we
Salim.
assign one Intune license to a user, how many device he can use with that one Intune license? Is there any restrictions?
I think you were not there in yesterday's session, right? Salim,
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
there in yesterday's session.
yeah. I was there. I saw the device restriction part as well, but I'm a bit confused. So just wanted
Okay,
to clarify.
so what is the confusion? Sorry, if you can explain that, because um, device restriction, right? In device restrictions you can see, like, what are the options, how many devices you want to restrict, right? You want to put, like, against a user. By default it's only allowed, like, one particular user can have 5 devices. Okay, if that particular user try to enroll sixth device, then it will fail, it won't get enrolled, okay, in Intune. So you need to either increase the number of support, as like, devices for that user, or it's not for that user, right? It's for the entire tenant. Okay, so if you increase the number from enrollment restriction policies, right, then it will be applicable for all the users, okay, in that particular tenant. Is that
Yeah. So imagine in my tenant, I say that one user can enroll 10 devices. And if we assign one Intune license to that user, and as per our settings, they can enroll 10 devices. There is no limitation, right? It is on the tenant's device restriction settings. If we restrict them for 10 users, they can use 10 devices with one license. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
But
That
that's
clarifies.
the Intune license, not the Windows 10 license.
Yeah, and there is a
Yeah, that's
restriction,
correct.
right? So per user can register only maximum 15 devices, not more
Maximum
than.
50. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is what I had shown you yesterday, right?
Yes, yes, Anup. I'm clear now.
Okay.
Hi Anup, this is Param here.
Yeah.
Whenever we are enrolling any new user and we are assigning a license to him, so is that always a manual method, or whenever we are enrolling any user, the license will be automatically assigned to him? Is there any method to automate that particular setting?
I think there is a group option in the licensing part. I feel like in if you go if I can go to licenses, right, and if I can see click on assignment, right. So where is it? Give me a sec. If I can go to ah profile. This is user profile. Let me go to licenses. Okay, and all products. So if I say E5 licensed groups, right? If I
Okay,
click on license group, you can assign this particular license to a group. I don't have a group now in this tenant, but yeah, that is possible.
okay, okay. So whenever we add any user to that group, the license will be automatically assigned to that users, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
So,
okay.
so what do you will hear, Anup? Sorry for interrupt. Probably I can, take it up that question because which we are also facing the same thing. So usually we will have the separate group for IAM. So whenever the user is onboarding to the company, they will get assigned to the Intune license by default. That is the organization-wide thing. So it is automatically added by the users from the respective group for dynamic rules are like that. That what the general best practice they will follow in all organizations.
yeah. Thank you very much for that confirmation.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All are clear or all are confused, I feel. Because I have gone through all the notes in Intune and like people are always confused.
Yeah.
It, uh, quite okay, Anup. Okay, probably in upcoming session we can go in detail by one blade, like that, so everyone can understand. Until unless they go through the each blade from their end, they won't get familiar with the first shot.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So that is what I mentioned. Like probably tomorrow, from tomorrow, probably we will cover AD join and Intune enrollment, right? Client side, right? Take or that is the strategy I'm going to take for the next sessions.
Anup, is we will cover the connector also, like how we can configure the connector and what settings we need to choose.
Which connector to be specific?
Uh, Azure AD connector. So
I am not going to cover anything which is related to on-prem because I don't have any on-prem. We can probably cover theory part of it, but I won't be able to show that as a demo or something. Kind of on-prem infrastructure as of now because this is basically new tenant and I don't want to connect my existing on-prem to this one because I already have the other one.